Oh, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, how have you been with the new experience?
Good. I've actually been really um tired. I feel like the voice is louder now, which is I wasn't anticipating that, but it's pretty cool because I just feel like I can hear an answer like right away, which is great.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Any special dreams that you had?
No, I don't remember any dreams. I just know that like um I feel like I'm not alone. Not
Mm,
in a creepy way, which is it's kind of sounds that's kind of sounds weird. Not like there's a ghost or something, but like even yesterday, like after my session, I was just relaxing on the couch and then I was just having some thoughts and I was like um kind of having like a conversation in my mind, like a back and forth. But sometimes, you have that kind of thought, your thoughts are, you're kind of like talking in your mind. I didn't feel like I was talking to myself. I felt like, oh, I can hear my higher self still.
excellent.
Yeah. And I
Oh,
was like, oh, I hope this stays like this because that's
yeah,
pretty cool.
that's very cool. You got
Yeah.
acquainted with your higher self far closer,
Hmm.
before
Yeah.
it was like some idea, but now it's real for you, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Very good. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. Me too. So yeah, so after I was trying to think of like what was the difference between
The
uh
first and the
first
second.
session, yeah, the first session and the second session. Um I think I think leading up to the first session I didn't know what to expect. And like as you know, my first session was very getting into it with the beginning of it was like difficult. The second session, I was just anxious to like start it. I'm going through whatever and I need an answer. Um, and then it was even like when we were going through the session with you, like it started. I didn't even realize that it started and it had already started. I was waiting for it to
Already in
start.
life within just few minutes.
And then we were already in the mix of it.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
um, so obviously the apprehension is no longer there and then it was just so much easier, I guess, because I already knew what to expect and then I trusted a little bit more,
Mm.
and then also because after my first session I was continuing with my communication with my higher self, so it was easier to just allow it to happen, so that was pretty cool.
You did really well. I mean, you really allowed it happen, and then just it didn't take any minutes, like right away. And I said, "Oh, I think she's on already." So put the record on.
Yeah, yeah, that was even for me. I was like, oh, okay. Another thing that I was thinking as a difference was so you taught me about the ego and just kind of having that conversation with your ego to be like, stay in this corner for a second and give me a minute. And then after my first session, I did some little research on my own just about my relationship with my ego.
Mm.
And so I've been, as much as I journal to my higher self, I've had a little bit of conversations with my ego as well,
Mm.
and just kind of show appreciation for her role, but
Mhm.
also understanding that sometimes it gets in the way.
Oh, very, yeah. It's their job, right?
Yeah, but I think that if you can recognize that and just show appreciation, like I understand that you're trying to protect me, but I need to do this right now, so step aside.
Yeah.
um
For a couple of hours, just observe it. Don't interrupt. After that, you get all my attention,
exactly.
right? So, okay, baby, just for a while.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So having that conversation with you in session one and then being able to do that so that we can have the session one, because like all throughout your session, your ego's like chatting away, like
Right.
in the corner. And it still was doing that during session 2. Like, this was too easy. Are you sure this is real? Like, you know?
Yeah. Were you thinking, am I making it all up as well?
Yes.
Oh, you the second time around too, eh?
Yes. My ego was like, this is your imagination. But because I already had that kind of relationship with my ego, I was able to say, like, even if it's my imagination, leave me alone for a minute. You know?
Okay, very good.
So that was pretty interesting for me to see the first time. The first time the ego was loud.
Oh, okay.
The whole time. The second time,
right? Hey, here I am. You know, I'm more important.
Yeah, okay, so you know what I think about? Okay, so like when I was first learning how to meditate, it was like, how do I say this? So like your mind drifts and then comes back, and then it drifts and it comes back. And you think like, oh man, I'm failing because I wasn't able to focus the entire time. But you're learning. So that was my experience the first time with the ego. Like, okay, sometimes my attention is going to the ego and sometimes not. The second time it was like, at the beginning, the ego was saying da 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 da, and then I had that moment where I was like, okay, well, even if that's the case, give me a minute, and then just be quiet. It was quiet the rest of the time.
It was quiet, eh? Well, so you kind of really cooperate with your ego very nicely. They now respect you more, that they listen to you.
I felt that way. And then after I left you, I had such a moment of gratitude. I was like crying. Well, you know, I cry a lot.
You've cried a lot.
I was crying on my way home, and I was basically just very thankful. So I remembered to thank my ego for giving me the moment to do that, to have that experience. And then also thanking my higher self and thanking you. I don't know if you can hear me, but I was thanking you as well, just to like give me that opportunity, because it was night and day. So the first time I'm a crier. But the messages I received the first time were so light and bubbly and encouraging that I didn't anticipate any negative energy ever coming to me ever again in life. And then this time I needed to be reminded that even if your overall picture is positive, you still have bumps in the way, along your journey.
Yeah, like everybody's life is like that. It cannot be always going in a high speed on one way, right? Yeah. Go deep a little bit, go back, that kind of thing. So that was a good lesson for us, right? Yes. Not only you learned, and so was I. Like, I learned a lot from your session as well. More, all the other things. Beautiful thing is that you and I were related in some way, in some way, in somewhere else.
Life, yeah.
Oh, that was so fascinating,
Yeah. And for me, it was also confirmation, because I told you from the beginning, I don't understand. I'm just so comfortable around you. Like, I come to your house, I'm like, let me do the dishes, whatever. I feel like we're already family. And that makes sense now. Why?
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So people might wonder, what are we talking about, right?
Well, we can fill them in a little bit. So in this session, we learned that we were sisters in a past life. So we were wondering before, we feel really connected to each other. So I asked you to ask, and that's what my higher self said. We were connected in a past life.
We were sisters. Sisters so many thousands of years ago, now meeting here again. So, interesting thing is that I am meeting all these clients from all over. We all had past life connections, every single one of. And then, sometimes 10,000 years ago, sometimes 20,000 years ago, maybe, some of 40,000 or 50,000, you never know, right?
Yeah.
It's like amazing. It's beautiful.
Something I learned the other day that relates to this was that a lot of people think that you meet someone and you feel like a connection to them, they call it chemistry, right? And most people think, especially if it's like that's the sex that you're attracted to, like sexually, they'll be like, oh, I have chemistry with this person, so it must be romantic. But it's not always romantic. So you and I had a very strong chemistry from day one, and we find out why. It, Thankfully, we were able to find out why. But sometimes it might be exactly that. Like maybe that was your mother in your past life, or your sibling in your past life, and then you guys are connected in that way spiritually. And maybe you know it, or maybe you don't know it, but it doesn't always have to necessarily mean that that is your supposed to be your romantic partner today.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
also we learned that everybody is someone in the past life. They were mothers, fathers, or siblings, or soulmates, whatever, right? So
Yeah.
nobody is really stranger anymore, wasn't
Right.
it? Everybody's all related. We were so important people in some lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we learned that we really must respect and love everyone because we don't
Right.
know who we are talking with, right?
Yeah. And also it goes both ways too, because like I have a relationship with you in the past that we're choosing to continue today. But like we were also talking about, sometimes it might end. So now if that relationship ends, then maybe in the next life we won't connect anymore, or you know what I mean. So it also goes both ways. You have to be able to read what my higher self says, is that my emotions are a guide to what's right and what's wrong. So very much so, I very much try to follow like the guidance of my emotions. So if I feel good about it,
Yeah.
whether I can rationalize it logically or not, I try to follow it. And if I feel bad about it, I just stay away. So
Absolutely. Whatever your inside tells you, that is the guidance, right?
Yeah.
So when your inside tells you, no matter what your brain says, well, this person has this, and then there's no reason of not saying no, but yet your inside tells you no right away, that means we have to follow the inside voice, right? Because they know better than our brain.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really interesting that things that we found.
So yeah, like just again going back to the differences between the first and the second session. I just feel like it was like it's like reading a book. Like the first chapter kind of teases you, like, okay, this is kind of the setting of the scene, and the second chapter you're like, oh, there's more. Like I want to turn the page again. And I feel like the first time I went, I had like very earthly, everybody wants to know, what's my life purpose? What about my romantic relationship, my children, like those things. And then my second session, I wanted to know more overarchingly, like, how can I help the community? How can, like, what's happening in the world today? How does that impact me, my life, my family, what's the best way to go? And I think everybody has those questions right now, especially with like,
I think so.
With the pandemic. It's scary. Like I like, we know I got sucked into the fear of it all, and that really changed the way I was living for a little bit, and I couldn't manage. And I'm so grateful that you were in my life, so I can call you and say, help me navigate this, because it's scary, right?
Yeah.
But
we have this modality to maneuver, right?
Yeah.
That's a great gratitude to Dolores Cannon.
Yes.
Madam.
I know, because when you operate out of fear, you're already losing. So yeah, I feel so grateful about that.
I think the higher self is, was saying that when we accept the fear, it means like we close our eyes, like I was thinking it's like another vocabulary came to me. Say, for example, if we want to see the little thing, we use a microscope. When we want to see the long distance, we use a telescope.
Mm.
And then when we want to use our different eyes for all the dimensions, I was thinking, what about the dimenoscope? You know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
create the word, say, wait a minute, dimenoscope explains so well for me, you know, because it's always with you, right? It goes wherever dimensions we want to travel. It's always
Yeah.
they focus it, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. I think
Yeah,
that's a really good way of putting it because it's like understanding.
yeah.
It makes you understand well, like what we're doing, what it is that we're trying to. It's
Because
just
our higher self is always with us, and it's like a scope is with us, and just the focus on dimensions, boom, and then we just go there with it, right?
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's a good way to
no
think of it.
scope. New
What about
vocabulary.
you? Like, how many times have you done QHHT like for your personal self?
Just once.
One time, you never did a second time.
I didn't because you know why? I'm getting my own past life readings from other people. They tell me I
Oh,
am in their life. Like yesterday, I
yeah,
was in your life that way, and that's how I learn. So I
yeah.
mean, I know so many of my past lives already from you guys, you
That's
know?
wonderful. That's
And,
that's your benefit too of being the practitioner.
absolutely. So I ask everybody to become QHHT practitioner for your own benefit, you know?
Mhm.
Not only helping others, but oh my God, you don't know how much I have learned by
Mhm.
just giving a session, helping people to find their own healings and answers. I am also expanding my scope so much, right?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
so
that's amazing.
beneficial. Hmm?
That's amazing. I said.
It is. So you should go for it too.
Yeah, so I definitely have an
You have a
affinity
lot of
like
work cut out for you, but
yeah.
just add one more.
But when I first met you, that was one of the questions I had. I just have this thing about learning new things, I guess. I was learning something new recently and I was telling my partner like this is so much fun, you know?
Yes.
So for me, learning new things it is fun. So it is something that I would like to learn. But
Yeah.
I do appreciate just having a relationship with you and being able to come
Yeah.
when I need to.
Yeah. Whenever you need it, I'm always here for you.
Thank you.
Especially, I know that we've been sisters. Hey, my sister, come on over. You know, we just extend our relationship further and deeper, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So when I was giving you what we call preparations for you to become a deeper and deeper, you remember the words in the first time, right? Were you expecting something, same words coming,
Yes.
following, and how come it's not coming, kind of?
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, we're already when because the first time I had very difficulties journeying, I guess, to get to the past life visions, or what do you call them? Like visions, is it?
Past life review.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the second time, I was expecting the same. Okay, so when you're telling me to relax, and then you're asking me if I can see the things in my mind's eye that you're telling me, like a
Yeah.
yellow cloud
Say
or
yes or no, whatever, and then you were there, and then what were you feeling at the time? Saying yes and yes and yes, and then you saw the object.
so now that you're talking asking me about it, then I realize that there is three minds at work. So my ego, I'm talking to her and I'm saying, give me a minute. And then my higher self is guiding this flow. And my conscious mind is saying, she's going to say this next. So wait for this next. You know, so I was waiting for like the cloud and you know what I'm talking about, you know,
Yeah,
like okay, let's go up to the cloud and engulf in the cloud and that kind of thing. And that didn't happen.
you're
So
expecting that, right?
I was expecting it. So
And then what happened?
then when I'm like, but one part of me is like, I'm waiting for this cloud. And another part of me is like, but I'm already seeing stuff. So I'm already in review. And I'm like, oh, then my ego's like, well, you're making this up because you didn't even get the cloud yet, you know? So I said, to my ego, because you were still like, well, if you're seeing this, what else? What else? You know, and I'm like, oh, then probably by like the second or third scene in that review, I realized that we started. I'm like, oh, we already started. But my conscious mind was different to my ego. My conscious mind was aware the whole time. I was very, very hot this time.
Yeah, because you had a lot of energy was already in, and then, you know.
Yeah, so part of me was like, oh, I'm hot. I want to take off this blanket that's on me, or, you know, so I don't know if I was physically doing that, but I was feeling like I want to take my arms out. And
physically, it wasn't moving. It was solidly quiet.
Oh.
Physically, but you felt energetically you were hot and you want to take it out, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then I also felt like I was crying.
I know you did. Yeah, you were really in the life, and so you were experiencing again. So you were feeling all the emotions. So tears are coming and everything, you know. Yeah.
And then it was very interesting listening to it last night. I was like kind of experiencing it again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then probably you will see even more than what you told me before. Yeah, so you will see again and then even deeper and you get the meaning more, right?
Yeah. So I guess for your listeners, there was a part of it where I was in a cave at the beginning and I was expressing to you like, oh, this is my little hiding spot. And I also was like drawing on the walls of the cave. That cave goes further than I expressed. So in review of the audio yesterday, it's almost as though I was able to explore that part of it that we missed. I don't want to even say that we missed. It's just that it was like, you know, if you say, is there anything else that's really important in the scene? And I'm like, not really. But then when I'm listening to it again, I'm like, oh, well, what's over here and what's over here and what's over here in my mind's eye? That was pretty cool because then it's like I'm not in hypnosis anymore, but I'm still getting to review parts of the life that I didn't see before, which is
yeah,
cool.
because your energy sees everything. It's simply you didn't have time to tell me all about it in detail because just it's it's a what they call fast pace or whatever pace.
Yeah.
So people cannot explain all the details you're experiencing. So when you are listening, you really have time to experience again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even more.
Yes, and even so the first part is obviously we go through the past life review, and then we're speaking to the higher self and asking questions and
get the healings if there is any. So.
Yes. When I was listening to that part, so now she's like, she has my higher self, two things actually. So one is my higher self, while I'm listening to it, she's like, and this, and she's telling me more. Right. So I was like, interesting, because I'm like, what does this mean? Or what does that mean? Or maybe where she asked, we were at, so there was a part in the session where I you even couldn't understand what I was saying, because I was like,
I know, because you were joking. You were joking a lot. So one time I asked you, I said, please, can you reduce the joking a little bit? Put your balancing your energy, right? So your body was really jerking, and I couldn't really listen very well because with that movement, the voice changes, and then I cannot really hear better, right? So could you please make it a little less so that I can hear you better, you know?
Yeah.
And then reduced a little bit, and then do you hear better or something? I said, yes.
Yeah.
You know?
But in that time, the things that were being said, I'm like, what is that? And then so in listening to it, I feel like I got my answers after, like while I was listening. So that was pretty cool. And another thing that I wanted to say is that okay, so my first session, my higher self was like loud and laughing and bubbly and like, oh my God, like so jovial. Like even just listening to my tape, I always laughing and like,
Yeah.
it's very contagious, the joy that she was emitting.
Yeah.
And then this time it was like, so what do you need to know now? Like she was just so different. I was like, is this a different person or is this a bad time? Or
added to this, like, well, you know me now. I don't have to really, put up the face.
Yeah.
Right?
No, but I didn't know. I didn't feel like. I felt like I was expecting to get that same joy, feeling from her, and then I was like, oh, so they have bad. Not okay. Like it's not was like it wasn't like a bad day. It was just like, oh, so your disposition can be different days, just like us, like a human. Like I'm not joyous the most, I'm not like that every day. Sometimes I'm like that though, right?
Well,
So,
it all depends on the subject that we are dealing with at the moment. And then in the beginning, very beginning, and people's higher self becomes a little bit like a very active, energetic, most of them. Then the subsequent ones, they become real. Their tonality is more like a quieter, more like a serious, that kind of thing. So your case was exactly I'm familiar with, but you are not. So
yeah. So when I was like, what's wrong with you?
That's so cute.
Yeah, but it was good. It was like still very helpful, still answering every single question and
Yeah.
whatnot. It's just that it didn't have that bubbly, joyous laughter as the first time. So that was a very interesting observation to make.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
That
cool.
was a good thing that you noticed.
Yeah, yeah.
What else did you notice the difference this time?
I think that I was just for myself, I was just really I kind of already I already knew what to expect. So I was just so freely open to the whole experience. And I feel like because of that, I also it impacted me physically. Is that normal? I don't know. Like while I was going through it, I could feel like surges of energy going through me, like pockets of light in my hand. I was like vibrating. I felt like I was vibrating. And just even afterwards, I just felt like light. Like all of my issues were just they didn't matter anymore. Like they were evaporated.
Exactly.
It was yeah, because I really did come see you heavy. Like,
yeah, you came in with a little bit influenced by the world, let's say. Okay, so but then after session, you're like, oh, sun's a bright sunny day again. Beautiful wind blowing, enjoying the life. It's totally different energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
I felt
you got all the answers, and you know why that you were a little down, right?
yeah, and also like even though you go through a moment of that overall you can always come out of it and it's like at the end game there's more good than bad.
Oh, absolutely. Life is all about that, right? So balancing.
Yeah.
It's not always good, good, good. It's we get little dips and then we go up again. Enjoy it. Got a little dips, like your higher self says. Some bright days and some rainy days, right?
So yeah, so that was really good actually. So my very first time I was like, what's my purpose? And then my second time I was like, well, why am I going through this? Because you said my purpose was this. And so learning my purpose in the first time was like very, very powerful and impactful. And I felt like it was wonderful because I was already kind of living, I was on the right path, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah.
Then this time I was like, well, if I'm supposed to have, let's just say like a wonderful life overall, then why
Yes.
am I having bad days? Why am I sad or whatever? And my higher self was like, well, do you want me to tell you the whole picture, every single moment, every good thing, every bad thing? Like, you can't expect to not have bad things happen. Very bluntly said it like that. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Totally. Totally makes sense.
I wasn't expecting any more bad days, but yeah, that makes sense. So yeah. So it was a good continuation of the message, I guess. And kind of just a reality check too, because when you kind of get a picture, an overall picture that's like you said, like all sunny days, you forget that you need the rain to make the flowers grow.
That's right. Yeah. So much wisdom in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why they are so wise. You know, sometimes I'm wondering, higher selves are so wise, you can't beat them. Always makes sense.
And then our conversations afterwards is always, or before and after, are just always so wonderful. I feel like even that in itself is a therapy.
It is, yeah.
Talking to you. So the before is kind of like me venting, and then the after is kind of me getting like an understanding of what I was venting about. So that was I don't know how you really even remember our first session conversations, but a lot of it tied into our first session conversations.
Well, so I don't remember all of them.
Okay.
I just remember some of them because I'm in many of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So important details I remember, but all the details, no.
Yeah, because you see so many people.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's confusing because so many of them have similar issues, and then I don't know whether it's this person or that person because answers are almost similar too. So I'm just confused. Was it this person? You know, so it's a normal that way, right?
It's funny you say that because I was thinking that it was also very reassuring to know that some of the messages that I received, others had received as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So first of all, knowing that I wasn't the only one concerned about these things, that's so we, other people asked. Then humans doubt. So
well, that's normal. I mean, that's why they are created that way for us. Otherwise, without doubt, just believe in everything, then what?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's quite an important part of functions that doubting is necessary too, right?
Yeah. So, but what I said that because like if my higher self said something, as much as I want to believe it, it's really great to know that others have got that message, the same message. So it makes me believe more then.
Yeah, because it affects everybody right now. So is everybody's wondering as well. So it's their question as well, and then answers are all the same.
Yeah. So that for me felt really good, and then just having like that, just having the ability to go somewhere with doubts and getting a higher perspective. Not okay. So I've been on like kind of like this journey for a while. So you can go to like a card reader or a psychic or whatever, but when you go to someone repeatedly, as much as they may have a gift, sometimes they are now invested in your story. So they're kind of telling you like their opinion as well as whatever they're reading in the cards. So you might believe in the cards and whatever, but like for me, I'm not asking Sue, I'm asking myself.
Exactly. So that's why it's important because the answer comes from your higher self, not from me. Like my ego is not involved at all. You know, whether I like it or not, the answer comes from you. Yeah. So exactly. So you don't have to depend on anybody.
Yeah. So it's your ego, your judgment, everything is set aside, even my own. even my own, because like the very first time I came, some of the questions I had, I was very apprehensive of what the answers might be. Like, are you going to tell me, you know, this, or like some, you don't know, you might hear something that is hard to hear. But knowing that even if I get an answer that's hard to hear, that it came, like when I'm listening to it, it's my own voice saying this. Like, how
And also they are very loving, you know. They deliver the messages, but they are so loving. And they express it with the full love and understanding about you. You know, it's so when you hear harsh words, whatever, because someone loves you in so much, and then you don't take it that way, but you take it with the love and appreciations, right?
Yes,
So I think that's the way that the message is delivered is also beautiful.
I agree. And also just like the reminder that you are loved like that.
Oh yes.
And that love is coming from yourself. It's like, even if you are having, like, not everybody has an abundance of self-love, but it's like reaffirming that loving yourself is number one, you know?
Number one priority.
Yeah.
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 You love yourself first before you love anything else, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is most important lessons we get again and again. So, and we have to remember that every single one of us is always being loved, and the love never ends. From the source, I find that they love so much, and then whatever we humans think that, oh, I made a mistake, this is they say, what mistake? That was only experience.
Oh,
You experience this way, you learn this.
yes.
On that, how else could you learn? I mean, they are so beautiful, right?
I love too, like you were saying, that you're like loved from source unconditionally, but all the time.
All the time.
I think sometimes we disconnect ourselves from um, that knowledge, which kind of makes it feel like it's not coming in. If we use myself as an example, I just felt like coming to you that I was depleted. My energy was very, very low. And from the past life review that we had, I felt like I was reminded that connecting to source, I'll never be in a lack of energy. There'll always be an abundance of love and energy and light.
Absolutely.
Right? But you have to remember that to feel it, which is interesting. So even though it's always happening, like it's always coming to me, if I forget, it's almost like I'm putting an umbrella up.
Or like, veils.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, this energy's coming, but I'm forgetting, so now it's coming and it's missing me. Almost like that. That's kind of like how the visual I got of it.
Yes.
So like, put the umbrella down as the reminder that like, anytime you want this, it's here for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they say. Meditate is the best way of reminding ourselves that we are one with the source. And so that's why they keep asking, meditate on me meaning the source. Meditate on me, that I am the one who loves you. Whatever you do, my child, you are here to learn things, experiencing things. Just take it easy. Love yourself. Go experience whatever you want.
Wow.
It's just never, what do you call it? It satisfies everything that we are looking for. I mean, all we are is looking for love, right? After all, whatever we do is just we are looking for love, one way or another. So that's all there is. We are all seeking the same thing.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
So how's your daughter was responding?
Oh, so I haven't told her. I haven't told her. She comes tomorrow. She comes home tomorrow. So I haven't told her about it yet. I told her there is something I want to share with her. So she's kind of anxious to hear about it. But I haven't told her as yet. I just anticipate her being excited because she did get a message. We got a message for her specifically. So, and also she was in that life. So that'll be exciting for her.
Oh, I know, right? That's just special. Very special.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm happy about, I'm just happy about, so actually the last thought I want to have is that, like I said, I've been on this journey for a while, but this for me, like session 1 versus session 2 has totally been like an evolution. That's how I kind of like sum it up. Because like session 1, it was like, okay, this is possible. And then session 2, it was like, okay, let's go deep in this and let's do this now.
Right.
And each time they're giving me little messages, kind of homework, but not really homework, kind of like, this has to be your new way of life. So after session 1, it was like, you need to journal so you can talk to me and connect with me and hear me. And that became a part of my everyday, which is actually interesting because before, like when I was very young, I used to journal a lot. And I felt like when I was told to journal again, like, oh, when I was younger, was I communicating with my higher self the whole time and then not knowing while I was journaling, which was pretty cool. Yeah. And then session 2 was, like you said, meditate, continue to meditate every day. And I meditate when I'm super stressed. So now it's like, okay, doing it every day is going to be a new part of my everyday routine. And I'm interested to see what will bring me back to do another 3rd session, but also like what will come out of that. Like it might just be like, I do a cleanse. Yeah, like I do a cleanse every 4 months. Maybe I'll come and see you every 4 months. I don't know. Or maybe it'd be like something's happening and I need a specific answer, but I'm interested to see what that'll be like because it does feel like it's speeding up my evolutionary growth.
It's like you're on the Zoom train.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this, right? So
Yeah.
speedy Godzilla, like shooting the stars faster.
And my daughter, because like when I started journaling, then I got her to start journaling with me, and then my partner as well, because I'm telling him like my experiences, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna live vicariously through you. So if you're doing this, I'm gonna do this as well. And I guess because we're connected the way we are, when I get messages for myself, I also get for him. And so we're kind of on this journey together, which is pretty cool.
Excellent. See, the ripple effect, what you're creating is because you started and now your daughter's involved and the entire, partners involved and on and on. And then they will be different and they'll change without them noticing it. And then the acquaintance around them say, hey, what are you doing? You look different, or you're thinking different or something. And then again, more ripple effects on and on and on. See, like that's what they say. It's like a one drop to the cosmos. That one of my article that I wrote is their idea of me writing is that because one information creates so many effects further onward, and then the entire cosmos changes. Here in the world, we talk about butterfly effect a lot, right? It's the same idea. One small butterfly that caused so much of ripple effect. The entire cosmos got affected by it. Not only the Earth and all the others. So it's a vast changes that we are creating, not even knowing it.
Yeah.
So when you are in the session, you get to realize, oh, this is what's happening, right?
Yeah.
To find out, okay, it's quite different. The life is not going to work and eat 3 meals a day and do you want to eat steak or fish? It's not about that. Something else, right? So it's really interesting. Life is all about.
It's funny that you say that because I never really thought of it that way. I was always kind of thinking it as like about me. So like I'm coming because I have questions or I have an issue. And but you're right, like it has affected my family, like the ones closest to me, you can see it the most, obviously. But even on my outer circle, because I've had such profound experiences with you, I share it with others, which is like which is why I'm willing to share like on your YouTube channel, because I hope that someone else can see that it's been impactful for me, and hopefully it impacts them as well positively. But like again,
they will.
yeah, so when I talk to my girlfriends or my brother or whatever, I always saying like, oh, you're going through XYZ. I don't have an answer, but you should go see Sue, because it's pretty like no, there's nothing else like this. And I say that as a person that, like, again, I've been on a spiritual journey for a while. So like I've been to churches and mosques, and I've read Torahs and got card readings and tea readings, and you know, I've seen and done a lot of different. I've had a lot of different experiences spiritually. This is unique, very much so.
Very unique, and all the thanks goes to Dolores Cannon, who created all this thing. And then all the other things like card readers and everything, they all have good points, and they all help. And then this QHHT is kind of helping people in other way around.
In a different way, yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to discredit the other things that like I mentioned. It's just that this thing is completely different, like I said, mostly because you are accessing a part of yourself,
your own self, higher self.
Yeah.
And so it's coming from you, so there is no other human ego is involved. That way, that is very different.
There's also no other interpretation either, too.
Correct. Yeah.
I might see this butterfly and think of that it means, like growth.
Yeah.
And you might see a butterfly and be like, oh, a butterfly only lives 5 weeks, so it means death. So that's a human interpretation.
Right.
But with this, it's like we're asking a question to a higher being. My own voice is on the recording, so it's not like weird or scary, but it's also very much like me giving answers without my apprehensions. And again, also too, I really love that little email that you sent at the beginning, like when you're like, prepare for your session. So talk. You know, it's one of the things that you say in there. And I'm like,
right.
How many people don't do that though on a regular basis? They usually filter. Should I say this? If I say this, what's that person going to think? How's that going to react? This. And it's the same thing when you're going through the session. So like I said, my conscious mind is thinking one thing, my ego is thinking something else, my higher self is trying to get this message communicated through. So do I just say it, or do I, because even while I'm going through the session, I can still hold back if I choose. But
Absolutely.
That's not
going to it doesn't benefit you. So just let that go. They will keep talking anyway. So that's okay. But whatever comes to your mind, doesn't matter, either seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, whatever you sense.
Oh, I was surprised too, because this session you asked me how does something smell, and I was like, oh, let me see. I didn't know that I can smell things in the sessions.
Yes,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And taste, because I had wine, and I actually usually, even in this life, I
you said that was bitter. That life, the wine tastes bitter.
I'm tasting things and smelling things. This is interesting. I thought I could only have the sight of it.
But you confirm yourself. You are really in that life. You go through all the senses all over. It's not like you are not coming from memory. You are going there and experience it all over. All the senses involved.
Okay, so my first session when we went. So my first session, I didn't know what to expect. I was open though, but I didn't know what to expect. And I share everything with my partner. So I was telling him I'm going to go do this. And he's a little bit more of a skeptic, but he's supportive. So when we listened to it back, the first session, my father died in
Oh,
the
yes.
year. And I was crying, like
Yeah.
bawling in the
Yeah.
thing, sobbing, like, you know,
Yeah.
and
You love them so much.
and even now I'm like starting to tie. Like
Yeah.
when I was
Even
listening,
I get choked.
I started crying again when I listened to it the first time. And I was like, wow, like this is like a real,
It is real.
I had an emotional response on the recording, and then listening to it, it made me have another emotional response. And then I talk about it like even now, and I'm like, again, obviously I'm a crier, but like I'm having an emotional response to something that happened like thousands of years ago that my conscious mind does not remember.
Yeah. But it's all come back. And also the way you are feeling it in it, because I am in it with you. Remember in the beginning, take me with you. I'm your best friend. So take me with you in your journey. So I'm with you in that journey. So when you are crying everything, you know, I feel my heart just aches too, right?
I didn't know that.
Now you know. And then now when you are talking, I got choked as well because the emotion is all there already.
Oh,
It's incredible.
how do you do this? This is like amazing work, but it's not like, this must not be easy to do this.
It's not work. It's such a joy. I don't know how I do it. Simply, I know I love it because the last question I asked you, like, how long do you think you've been away or something? And then something you asked me like, what do you think or something? And I said I don't know because I'm totally zoning in on you, which is true because when I'm in the session. Once you walk in the door, hello and everything, once you walk in, my entire interest is on you, nothing else. So from there on, I hear nobody, I see nobody, just you.
Wow.
I hear everything about you, I see only you. I just go through.
Not easy.
No, I don't know why is it, but I just am doing that way, and then automatically I am in there. So when you are talking about your life, I'm feeling it as you are. I picture it as you are. You know, it's like I'm going through with you.
Wow.
So I don't know. I don't
Now that I know this, I feel like my next session, I want to be able to express more, because like even when I was listening to the tape, I'm like, oh, I didn't even tell her about these flowers, or you know, like I'm telling you the things that I think are important, but it's a whole life, like a whole,
yeah.
like
You experience a whole lot more. You can't even say everything, right? And you do your best. That's all you can do. Then we have to keep moving. Right?
Or else we'll be there all day.
You know, it's like we got things to do, right? So
truly. Okay, so 2 hours and 15 minutes was the session. That's just the actual like hypnosis part.
Trance part, yeah.
But it felt like 10 minutes.
I know.
It's so short. Like you just feel like, oh, just relax, and then it's like, okay, wake up. I'm like,
yeah, that's what normally people feel.
It's so weird to say this though, because it doesn't feel like I'm hypnotized and I don't have control over my body. I'm aware the entire time.
Absolutely. You are fully aware.
This is just
and then because the first one you had a session, you kind of assumed it probably is about 2 hours, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In actuality, you felt only like 10 minutes.
Yeah, so exactly, because like I said, because when I do meditation, I will be like, okay, I can completely zone out for like my focus. I can do a full focus of 10 full minutes. So if I have like 5 minutes of trying to get to that full focus, 10 full minutes, and then 5 minutes of coming down. So maybe I thought like 20 minutes. But 2 hours and 15 minutes later.
The recorder says it. Then what else is accurate, right? Whatever they say is the correct.
And even listening to it, I was still feeling like, oh, this is super fast. Like, it didn't feel like, oh, I just listened to 2 hours of recording.
Yeah.
I super appreciate your dedication to this. And I really am grateful that we met.
It's my joy, and I'm happy to find you as my sister again.
I totally look forward to however our journey continues together. Like, you're a part of my life now. I'm not going to let you go.
Remember what they say, together we are
stronger.
powerful.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
Together is important, right? As a group. So many people have experience of this kind of modality, find out their true purpose is like a great power for their power, the personal power, because once they know what they're supposed to do in this life, they can just put all their energy into that and accomplish it.
Yeah.
No more wandering around, no more wasting time, I mean, here and there, have a good time, of course. It's not always work.
Yeah.
However, but we know what is the pole star that we always look up to, the goal or the main purpose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why every higher self is saying same thing. Our pole star is always the source.
The source.
We came from, we are working for, we are experiencing for, and we are going back to it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what they always say, same thing.
It's wonderful.
So enjoy the journey.
Thank you for being part of it.
Thank you. Anything else you'd like to add?
I think I'm good.
You're happy? Yeah.
Yes, I'm happy.
I'm so happy that you got rejuvenated again.
Yes, thank you.
So that you don't have to be depleted by whatever is happening. You know for sure that what is your path, right? Beautiful.
Yeah, I feel so much better. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you too. It's my honor. Okay, my dear. You have a great night.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.